Good afternoon, everyone. It's 1961. Our speaker was just 20 years old as he learned that his idol, Woody Guthrie, was dying. He dropped everything to attend to his bedside and traveled from Duluth, his hometown, to New York City. Guthrie, being a prominent American folk musician, was a revelation to our speaker. Our speaker would later write about Guthrie and quote, end quote, the songs themselves had the infinite sweep of humanity in them. He was the true voice of the American spirit. I said to myself, I was going to be his greatest disciple. And as his disciple, he spread the gospel of folk in Greenwich Village, where he would later meet prominent folk musicians such as Joan Baez, Dave Van Ronk, and Ramblin' Jack Elliott. He became known throughout New York for his complex songwriting and distinct vocals. He would write about war and peace, joy and suffering. Novelist Joyce Carol Oates would write about our speaker, and quote, when we first heard this raw, very young, and seemingly unstrained voice, frankly nasal, as if sandpaper could sing, the effect was dramatic and electrifying. Our next speaker would later tour globally in his 60-year career and produce 39 albums, critically acclaimed, and would eventually win the Nobel Prize in Literature for his contributions in informing the poetic form in American song tradition. Our speaker is a civil rights activist, an anti-war activist, and arguably the most significant American songwriter in history. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Bob Dylan.